Lesson 12 is on linear equations and two variables. And we've been working on those for the last couple lessons now in this topic, but we're going to focus more now on maybe non-proportional relationships. And don't stress when you see linear equations and two variables. This is an example of a linear equation and two variables. Okay, there's two variables there. So when we say a linear equation and two variables, we're just going to be working with ones that are have an x and a y. Sometimes they might be different, but if you think that we use x as our independent variable, y as our dependent variable, that should be a comfort level for us, but it also allows us to put on the coordinate plane because ordered pairs are x's and y's. Okay, so let's do some examples. And again, don't overthink this. This should look a little bit familiar because we've been doing things like that, but now we're just going to start putting everything together and maybe talking about it from an algebraic stance. So it says find 5 solutions of the linear equation x plus y equals 3 and plot the solutions as points on the coordinate plane. So here's our equation. We've been doing this, okay? The difference here is we don't have any x values, so we get to pick them. So look at our coordinate plane here. On this one, we go from -10 to 10, and you can put any of them on that you wanted. And they don't have to be in order, okay, because we're going to plot them all. It won't matter. I like to, I don't necessarily start, but I like to use 0. 0 is usually pretty easy. Now let's talk about what's happening here. We're going to input a 0 for x, and I'm going to say 0 plus y equals 3. That 0 doesn't matter. Y is just 3. So then this becomes the ordered pair 0, 3. Pick a different point. Okay, you can use any of them. I'm going to pick 1. 1's easy. And I'm going to plug that in for x. And I'm going to say 1 plus y equals 3. Now at this point, you could say 1 plus what number equals 3? Or we could subtract 1 from each side. And that would cancel out. And we get 3 minus 1, which is 2. That's what you're going to do for all of these. Now, you have to be careful that, we're still using our solving equation skills here. Let's say I picked 4. Okay? Again, plug it in here for x. So this becomes 4 plus y equals 3. 4 plus what number equals 3? You might know that already, but if not, remember solving for y, we can subtract 4 from each side, and we're left with y equals whatever 3 minus 4 is, or 3 plus a -4, and that's a -1. It's a good practice to get into to always pick some negative numbers as well. So let's say I'm going to pick -1. I'm going to plug it in for x, and I'm going to say -1 plus y equals 3. -1 plus what number equals 3? If you don't know, we're solving for y. Let's get rid of the -1. We get rid of it by adding it. And whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. I have no idea why I just wrote a 2, except for the fact that apparently I can't make a video without messing something up. We're getting rid of the -1. Let's add 1 to both sides. That's 0. We're left with y equals 4. I don't know, -6. Let's try another negative. Plug that in for x. I get -6 plus y equals 3. I'm going to solve for y. So I'm going to add 6 to each side. We're left with y equals whatever 3 plus 6 is, which is 9. And these, you guys, just are our ordered pairs. Remember, not a coincidence that we use x's and y's a lot. X-axis is our independent variable. And so these are just ordered pairs that we can plot the points. -1 and 4, -6 and 9. So let's start with 0, 3. 0, remember, here's our x-axis. 0 moves, I don't move left or right at all, and I'm going to go up to a 3. 1, 2. I'm going to go over 1 and up 2. 4, -1 will be right here. And if you're struggling at all with the plotting points part, don't let that hold you back. Come see me. Okay, let me help you with that. That's a quick fix. I can help you with that. At this point, you can absolutely draw a line in it. I'm going to choose not to just because it said find 5 solutions and plot them as solutions. But if you drew a line through it, that'd be fine. We'll go either way with this. If we were just graphing that equation, we'd definitely have to draw a line. But for this, I'm just going to choose just to put those points on there. Like I said, though, either way. That's what this lesson is about. Now, of course, there might be a couple more things that we have to contend with, but it's nothing that we don't know how to. So let's look at another example. We're doing the same thing. We're going to find 5 solutions for the linear equation. Linear, it's going to be a straight line, so we anticipate our points are going to line a straight line. Linear equation, 2x minus y equals 10. I am going to choose to write this a little bit differently, okay, because I don't like this minus y here. I'm going to write it as 2x, instead of saying minus y, I'm going to say plus a negative 1y. I didn't change the problem. Remember, keep, change, and I can throw a negative 1 in there. Okay, I just don't want to forget, and you don't have to do that, but I don't want to forget that that's a negative y. So we can't just solve for negative y, we have to solve for positive y. All right, same things here. I'm going to look at my graph that I gave you, and my x values, I goes from negative 5 through 10. So I can pick any of those. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be inputting right here for x. I'm going to start with 0 because that's easy. Something usually disappears when we multiply by 0. So I'm going to say 2x, so 2 times 0, there it is, plus a negative 1y equals 10. That cancels out, and I'm left with negative 1y equals 10. Now, so you'd have a minus y here, and that's why I like to write it as a negative 1. It's times a negative 1, so we're going to divide by negative 1. 10 divided by negative 1 is just negative 10. All right, 1. I'm going to say, plugging it in here, 2 times 1 plus a negative 1y equals 10. Now we're going to do a little solving here. Nothing too bad, though. Remember, we're solving for y, so we always get rid of whatever's being added to or subtracted from or whatever. So I'm going to get rid of this 2. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. That cancels. I'm left with negative 1y equals 8. And then I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 1. 8 divided by negative 1 is a negative 8. Oh, negative 2. We got to throw some negatives in there, right? So let's do negative 2. So I'm going to go plugging that in for x. 2 times a negative 2 plus my negative 1y equals 10. That's negative 4. Simplify and solve, just like we were doing in topic A. Okay, that stuff's not going away. It's a skill now that we hopefully know how to do. Okay, so I'm solving for y. I have to get rid of this negative 4 first. So I'm going to combine it with a positive 4. Whatever I do to one side, do to the other. That cancels. I'm left with negative 1y equals 14. You might just see at this point that you know the answer is a negative 14. If not, remember, you can use your solving skills. Ooh, that's a 14 there. I get it writing too fast. And we divide each side by negative 1. Y equals 14 divided by negative 1, which is a negative 14. Negative 5. Let me switch up my colors here. I'm going to plug negative 5 in. Plus a negative 1y equals 10. That's negative 10 plus a negative 1y equals 10. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Negative 1y equals 20. Do you guys see how you kind of get in a rhythm? You're doing the same thing over and over. Your numbers are changing. But that's it. Yeah, positive 5. 2 times 5. Again, just plugging in for x. That's the x values we did here. Plus a negative 1y equals 10. Last time I have to do this one. 10 plus a negative 1y equals 10. And then I'm going to subtract 10 from each side. And I get negative 1y equals 10 minus 10, which is 0. So you got to write a 0 there. That's the only thing left over there. Negative 1 times what number equals 0? 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Okay? And so then I can take these ordered pairs and I can write them, plot them on the number line. The cool thing is I'm anticipating, since this is linear, that this is a straight line. So I expect these points to be on a straight line. If they're not, I got to go back and check my math because I might have done something wrong on one of the points. Okay, 0, negative 10. Here's 0 left to right movement, down to negative 10. The next one is, what do I do next? 1, negative 8. So I'm going to go to the right 1 and down 8. Then I have negative 2, negative 14. So I'm going to go to the left 2. And you know what? That's not going to appear on here, which is fine though. Okay, because I anticipate it'll be down here, so I think it's still the right answer, or the right ordered pair. Negative 5, negative 20, that's not going to be on here either. You know what? That's okay though. It still would line up on the line. At least we have like about 3 that show up on the line. 5, 0. Because 2 points will give me a line, 3 points will make sure it's the right line. So, and it helps. Like, look at prime example. This is not a line. What did I mess up on? Well, negative 1 goes with negative 8, and for some reason I chose to put it in negative 6. You guys probably caught that. I guess we'll just make 2 videos of this one. But if I go to negative 8, now you can see it looks like it lies on a line. All right, so no overthinking this stuff. In the next video, I'm going to give you some hints where the problems look a little bit more confusing. But really all we're doing is picking x values, substituting them into a function, a formula, equation. We're solving for our y, we're plotting the points.